And for this primary reason, I believe that Nvidia's stock might increase 100 times over the next 10 years. What's crazy is that in a situation like this, they are essentially attempting to establish a complete monopoly because there could be a level of lock-in that people should consider if you have these rigs, which are the most capable of learning, and their SDK, CUDA, which is now the de facto software layer that you use to write to their H100s or Grace Hopper when it's available, and the A100s. So how would you respond to this if you work for a hyperscaler like Microsoft, Google, or Amazon? How would you respond to this if you were a Facebook user? And it's crucial in my opinion because you won't have any other options if these guys keep innovating at this rate. We're talking about a fascinating subject today that has been causing a stir in the tech industry. We'll respond to a segment from the All In podcast that talks about Nvidia's most recent innovative move in the AI space. Guys, this one has me wondering, so let's get started. It's really similar to how Intel used to be, which was a complete monopoly. The only difference is that, even if you developed something for an Intel CPU, it would still function well on an AMD processor. However, that isn't always the same. Therefore, you must translate the model if you switch from an A100 to an FPGA or another silicon. Therefore, it's critical to realize that extensibility is not an option here. That means that Nvidia will have a hardware layer monopoly in AI if it keeps driving this fast and performing in this manner. And I believe that people are likely considering ways to counteract that competitive outcome. But that's what I got away from their announcement. They appear to be prepared to fight for supremacy in what appears to be the most significant market to arise in your opinion, should Chamath be valued at 200 times or 50 times? I'm with you. The straightforward aspect of the price-to-equity ratio is that your implied yield is the result of flipping the ratio. That's your yield, isn't it? Price earnings, price earnings, price earnings. Sorry, you flip it. Nvidia is therefore giving up at these costs. I estimate it to be between 2 and 2.5%, which is less than and about half of a normal 2-year bond. Therefore, you have to see it grow incredibly when you have a yield that low. However, in order to develop in that way, you have to make so much money that rivals look at it and say, hold on, you don't deserve that much profit. This is a premise of capitalism. I will accept a portion of that. A chance is your profit. Your margin is my chance. Let me tell you, Nvidia's recently unveiled Grace Hopper chip is an absolute beast. It is a CPU and GPU combination made especially for AI applications. Imagine having the speed of a sprinter combined with the strength of a bodybuilder. In terms of computing power, this chip is comparable, but more intriguing than the Grace Hopper chip's inherent power is how well it works with Nvidia's already existing CUDA software ecosystem. For those who may not be aware, Nvidia developed the application programming interface model and parallel computing platform known as CUDA. It enables programmers to take advantage of Nvidia's GPU's capabilities for intricate calculations. Now, this hardware and software combination is very powerful. It's similar to having the most sophisticated GPS system with the greatest automobile engine. You're driving more intelligently, not just faster. But there's a serious issue here that we must deal with. The podcast guys are concerned that Nvidia might wind up controlling the market for AI gear. Let's take a closer look at this. Given their already strong position with CUDA, Nvidia may effectively control the whole AI development landscape if its Grace Hopper chip becomes the industry standard for AI hardware. Big firms like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft might be forced to use Nvidia's hardware regardless of their own preferences as a result. Consider it. These businesses may have fewer options for their AI hardware, and fewer options frequently translate into greater prices. Because, well, where else would these companies go? Nvidia could raise pricing. The possibility of a monopoly is a severe problem since it may inhibit innovation and competition. But don't worry, everything is not bad. This is not the only side of the tale. An intriguing idea regarding how this circumstance can really lead to some fierce competition is also raised in the episode. Other businesses such as AMD may feel pressured to innovate and create their own competing alternatives if Nvidia sets the standard this high. The AI market as a whole might benefit greatly from this kind of competition. Imagine various businesses vying with one another for superior AI performance, faster chips, and more effective architectures. From developers to end users, this might result in a faster rate of. Your margin is my opportunity is, in my opinion, exactly what occurs. What I'm waiting for, Freiberg, is that if AMD, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon don't make any significant announcements in the next 2 quarters, there's a reasonable probability that Nvidia will win this. And I think that's really dangerous. However, that price is low in that situation. Although my wager differs from yours, it leads to the same conclusion. I don't believe it will occur since it is simply too significant. Therefore, I believe that everyone wants vendor diversification except from Nvidia. Correct? You don't want to be restricted to using just one SDK or one person's hardware. That is not what you desire. Only Nvidia and its shareholders desire that. I would wager that throughout the next 2 quarters, there will be significant activity, forcing people to adjust their projections so that NVIDIA isn't just 100% NVIDIA, but also NVIDIA++. This is my guess since it makes sense and feels correct. Because in my opinion, it would be a very derelict of AMD for these hyperscalers to simply throw their hands in the air and give them the entire market. The other issue is that AMD doesn't actually have a deterministic AI chip. Despite being a fantastic memory solution, and Lisa Su needs to be incredibly forceful here, in my opinion. But she also needs to take decisive action and construct something, declare something, or purchase something. Many of the language models are actually being built with fewer and fewer CPU/GPU resources. On Hugging Face, this has resembled a race or competition. Some of the individuals working on these language models, JTH, have told me that there is a great deal of inefficiency, but I presented the leaderboard in another episode, perhaps 2 episodes ago. So, yes, and in addition to that, JCal is also taking place, which is similar to what you described, Freiberg. These models are becoming atomized, even quicker, I believe, than when you originally mentioned that. Yes, simply because of code and software advances, what took $3 million last year is now taking $200,000. Insane. My thoughts are as follows. NVIDIA's action is unquestionably audacious. They are at the forefront of AI hardware thanks to this power play. However, does it actually indicate a monopoly? I'm not entirely sure. Indeed, the tech sector is renowned for its quick changes and surprising innovations. Competition is still very much alive and well, and who knows what new technologies might be developed to meet this challenge. But enough of my opinions. I would like to hear from every one of you. How do you feel about NVIDIA's approach? Is this only the inevitable development of innovation in the AI sector, or do you see them establishing a monopoly? The original length and meaning of the text have been preserved, while it is now grammatically correct.